Let's get started now. So this is going to be quite a special webinar for me because in this webinar, we will be going over some of my favorite features of Locofi, which are creating components and the GitHub integration that it offers. So in this webinar, we will see how you can use these features in conjunction to adopt Locofi into your workflow incrementally. When I say incrementally, what I mean is that you can use Locofi in the very incremental stages. For example, instead of locofying an entire screen and generating the code and moving it into your repository, what you can do is that you can just start with a very simple component. It can be a form, it can be a header. And in this webinar, we will see how you can use components and GitHub integrations to incrementally adopt Locofi. And so this is the agenda of the webinar. So first we will go over introduction, what I mean by incrementally adopting. We will see the final output. We will also see how you can set up components in this webinar. What are components and uh, what are they supposed to do and how they should be structured. Then we will see how you can customize them, how you can make them extensible, how you can add props to them. Finally, we will move on to my favorite part where everything comes into place and we just have to integrate them into our existing code base. I've also left the room at the end of the webinar for any questions and answers that might follow. I'm looking forward to the questions and answers session for this particular webinar. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. So this is the design that we have. And this is a typical scenario that you are seeing where you already have an existing design in place and tomorrow the product manager or the designer decides to add a few more sections to your web page. Now, in this case, what developers usually do is that they don't redesign the entire page again and again whenever, for example, something is changed over here. Instead, what they do is that they create those two separate components, okay, and they move it into their existing web app wherever the component needs to be placed. Okay, I'm seeing quite a lot of new attendees join. So I'll just take a few seconds to reflect back on what we discussed earlier. So in this talking, we discussed that this is going to be a webinar where I will show you guys how you can incrementally adopt Locofi into your workflow. So we will see how you can create components, how you can structure them, and how you can use some of the cool features of Locofi, like creating components and the GitHub workflow to actually have a much more refined way of controlling your design and code and making sure they are in sync. So as I was discussing earlier, now this is a very common workflow where you have an existing design in place in your code, okay? And tomorrow or the next day, the designer is like, hey, I want to add two more sections. Now, in this case, the developer does not go back and redesign the entire web page. What they do instead is that they just take the new sections that are added, they design them in isolation as a individual React component perhaps, and then they move the component into the appropriate place wherever it is necessary. Now, over here, I have this code running, as you can see. So this is the existing design that you are seeing over here. And I already have this code running that is powered by this React code that you can see over here. Now, what I want to do here is that I want to see how I can bring these two new components into this existing app that I have. So what we will do over here is that we will first check the responsiveness of these components and how they are structured. So as you can see, they are actually fairly responsive. However, if I shrink it further, you can see that While it is responsive to a certain breakpoint, on smaller breakpoints, this does not look ideal to me. So in these kind of cases, the Locofi plugin can help you. So you can right click over here, you can click on plugins and you can go to Locofi. If you don't have the Locofi plugin installed, you can click over here and you can go to plugins and you can search for Locofi. Once you start the Locofi plugin, you will be prompted to select a project. In my case, I have already created a project. But if you're creating a project for the first time, this is what you will see. A bunch of framework settings and the ability to enter a name. Once you select a framework, for example, React, you will see the code settings option such as TypeScript, JavaScript, CSS variables, a bunch of new styling options that we have recently introduced, such as style components and CSS in JS. We also allow you to choose between pixels and rem, which I find pretty cool, to be honest. So in my case, I already have the project that I want. That's the homepage project. It's a very simple configuration. It's a React project with Tailwind as the styling option. So once you open the Locofi plugin, you will see that we offer a step-by-step flow for you. So once you complete all of those steps, you actually end up with the code in your hands. So as you can see, the last step over here is GitHub exporting the code or deploying it. However, it all starts with optimizing the design. Now, the reason why we place so much emphasis on optimizing the design as step one is because Locofi inherits all your Figma properties. Because Locofi from day one, it believes that you should not leave your favorite design tools behind in order to convert your designs to code. So that's why if your designs are have a clean structure, if they are responsive inside the design tool, then they will also be responsive on Locofi. Locofi even inherits your um, design values over here. So if you have something like this, like Studio, Light Mode, this will actually be converted into the appropriate CSS variable for you once you export the code. So in our case, we already know the design structure very well. So I won't run the design optimizer over here. However, when I preview this, as I was saying before I open the Locofi plugin, that the Locofi plugin can help you with these kind of things where uh, the design is responsive up to a certain breakpoint, but after that certain breakpoint, it is no longer responsive enough. Like on mobile, I want this to be vertical. So we will see how Locofi can help with that. So following a step-by-step flow, we will first be following a step-by-step flow. And over here, you can see the second step is to tag layers. So for example, what tagging does is that right now this is just a rectangle with some images and with some text inside, right? But to a human, it is we know that if I click on it, it should open up this particular content, it should open up this particular article. But the machine does not know that, right? So with the second step, you can assign an appropriate interactive tag to it. For example, if I click on it, you can see we have divided the tags that we offer into few sections like basic, custom, text, and container tags. Each of them serve a different purpose. For example, container tags are incredibly useful for SEO, whereas the custom tags are useful for designing items that require heavy JavaScript to function, like a accordion or a drop down. In our case, this is a simple link tag. So I'll just apply the link tag over here. And for now, I'll just place the URL as a hash. Now I can just select the second tag as well, and I can do the same. Same for the third tag as well. Let me go back. Let me change the tag. Yes. So I can now assign this as well. Now, this was not part of the demo, but I think you also saw right now that for the third tag, I was also able to change the tag. So if you ever assign a tag and you are like, oh, I made a mistake, it should have been button, you can just go over here, you can click on it, and you can easily untag or change the tag as well. Now, we assign the tags to it. If I go back, now let's see what is the next step. So the next step is styling and layout that we have. And this is the step that will actually um, liberate you and make you go beyond what Figma offers in terms of responsiveness. So if I preview this right now, you see um, this is not looking good on small screens. So what I can do here is that I can go to my 960 pixels, okay? And then I need to make sure that I'm selecting the correct frame. So over here, I can see that inside the content sections, we have these three content cards. So I can select the content section. Now on 960, I can customize the layout and direction. And I can do a lot more as well, like I can assign some custom CSS, pre-built effects. The possibilities are endless because you also get uh, a full power of CSS over here. But our use case is much more simpler for this demo. So I'll just choose this vertical direction over here. Now you can see that if I move to a higher breakpoint and if I am shrinking, you see, as soon as I hit 960, this is changing, okay? So with the gist of this is that with Locofi, you can easily apply settings based on different breakpoints as well as user action. So based on hover, for example, you can change the alignment, you can add a pre-built effect, you can change the fill color. We offer a bunch of user actions as well, like press, disable, uh, and so on. So you are never restricted. The next step over here is adding actions. So we also allow you to do a bunch of on-click actions. This allows you to create an interactive user experience uh, directly from a design file. You don't need to uh, go to your code and add some basic on-click actions like scrolling to view or change page. The fifth step is actually to sync with Locofi Builder, which I will come back to a bit later once we actually finish this. But over here, if you click on Sync to Builder, you will see that it detects whether it is a component, a screen, and it also allows you to switch the framework over here. Now let's move on to the second component and let's apply the learnings that we saw in the first one. So over here again, if I preview this, you can see that I had some time before the webinar, so I went ahead and um, already applied the styling and layout over here. But over here, I will also show you another cool feature that we offer, that's auto tagging. So if I select this frame and I click on auto tag, you can see it is quickly allowing me to set different tags to the interactive elements that we have over here. So for example, if I select this right, if I click on viewing Figma, it is showing me that okay, this is the input field. So I can quickly click accept and I can click on done. Same for this as well. If I click over here, I can see which component it is referring to. And it's also asking me if it belongs from a UI library. So this is a very simple input. It does not belong, but you see we have 4 UI libraries that support it. So I'll choose none. Now, if I go over here and I go or something like this again, and this is done as well. Now, same for this button here as well. I can select this and I can apply, done. However, when you're auto tagging, it does not mean that you cannot do manual tagging anymore. So for example, I can still select this form and I can go to tag and I can apply the form tag to it. Now, when I preview it, I want you guys to notice something interesting. So if you see the placeholders that we have over here, so these are actual placeholders that are generated in code, right? But Locofi is very smart enough and it automatically picks up these placeholders directly from a design file. So I'll show you this thing really quickly as well. If I click over here and if I click on edit properties, you can see the placeholder it is automatically picking up this text. So we do a lot of these minor optimizations to make sure that you have a good experience using Locofi. Let's also tag this messaging field that we have over here. So for this, I'll choose the text here. Awesome. And again, it picked up the placeholder here as well, as you can see. So now that we have both the components ready and tagged, we can do two things to integrate it into your existing app. So in my case, I also had this page pre-locofied. So I'll first show you the first way of integrating these components into your design file. Okay. So over here, I have this form and I have this content, right? I'll just copy this and I'll simply move them into my file. Now, I want the form to be at the bottom and I want the content to be below the feature section. Okay. So now I have this page ready. And now with this, we actually conclude how to set up component section of this webinar. And now we will be moving towards the adding props and bringing them into your code base. So in this section, we will see how you can assign some props. So for example, this content section, it won't be static, right? It will, the data over here, it will actually come um, from your backend, right? It will come from your APIs. So we will see how in Locofi you can assign props like, hey, this is a title, this is a description, this is the author. But before that, let's see how you can actually sync it to the Locofi Builder and go beyond these 4 steps that we have been playing around with for so long. So once you select this, now is the time to sync with Builder. So you sync with Builder, and over here it detected that this is a page. So I'll click on Start Sync. As you can see, it is syncing each component one by one, and it was actually quite fast. So this is the page that I have. I'll just reload it to make sure we have all the changes in place. And as you can see in this code base, I already generated these components for the other sections, but the new sections that I have added, those are not yet converted into components. For the existing sections, it was quite easy to create components as well. So once you complete this step 5 over here on the Locofi Builder, you will start from step 6. Now, before we start into creating components and seeing what awesome features Locofi offers, I'll just take a few seconds to quickly reflect on what is Locofi Builder, maybe for our new users on this webinar. So a Locofi Builder is a natural transition between your design and code. With the Locofi Builder, you can make some final adjustments to your code. You can share a live prototype with your team member, so you can collaborate easily before even before the you get your hands on the code. And also, you can even change the framework settings from over here by clicking on configure. Finally, on the Locofi Builder, you can actually even click over here and you can see that we have multiple options like sync with GitHub, export, and you can even deploy your website. In one of the previous webinar, I showed you how you can use this deploy to option to actually generate live previews and even take collaboration a step further. So if you have not seen that webinar, I recommend you to go to YouTube and check it out. Besides that, we also offer a full-fledged file explorer where it is a read-only file explorer, but it is quite powerful. So you can do Control F or Command F over here, and you will see that it opens up a very VS Code like way to find your stuff, and you can even edit it, you can rename files, you can create a folders. So Now let's actually move on and let's see how you can create those components. So for example, in the content section, what I can do here is that the first step actually would be to select this and go to step 6. Now, as I was telling earlier as well, that it was quite easy to create components on Locofi. One of the main reasons why it is so easy is because of the auto components feature that we offer. So as you can see, it already recognize the components that we have, and it is suggesting us uh, different things, different instances over here as well. So, and the relevant props. So for example, in this case, I don't want the style props. So I can remove the style props because I don't want to I don't want to customize the styles of this. For this one as well, you can see it already recognizes a lot of things for me. For the name, I'll probably change it to Walker. It sounds much more intuitive. So I'll do that. And then I'll accept the creating strings. So it goes for the value props packages. Okay. It's taking a bit of time on my end because of I have so many things going on over here. You can close the out as well, and you can even create these components manually. So I'll just show you the manual way of doing this as well. So you can click on the first card, and I'll just call this card, and you can create the component. Now here's a neat thing. When you select the second card, right, and you click on create, it automatically recognizes the structures are same, so they might be similar cards. Okay, so I'll select this, and when I do this, right, you see it automatically adds a bunch of value and style props for me. Now again, as I said earlier as well, I don't need the style props, but I'll just let this be over here for a while. Now you can click on this, and again it will recognize that hey, this is a content. So I'll just add this over here. Now you can even select this entire section, and you can click on create, and you can even create a component of the entire section. Now in this section over here on the code, you can see we have 3 cards over here, as you can see. Now similarly, I'll go to the form, I'll select this, and I'll click on create. For this, I'll probably call it form section. And I don't need to create a component for this form. I think this should be enough. But you can go ahead and you can create this, convert this to a component as well. Now let's see how you can actually bring this into your existing code base. So at the start of the demo, at the start of this webinar, sorry, I showed you guys this repository over here that was actually powering this code. So what we will be doing is that we use this powerful feature of Locofi to create components. And now we will use this in conjunction with the GitHub feature that Locofi offers to push this code that we have um, into our repository over here. So with Locofi, what you can do is that you can select a component and you can click on sync, and this will only sync the individual component. However, you can even sync the entire project. However, you can also sync multiple components at once. So you can click on sync components over here. And over here, it is recognizing the components that we have created. So I'll first unselect all of them. Then I'll select the content section and the form section that we want to create. Now I'll go back by clicking on the edit button. And over here, you can see first it asks you to connect your GitHub. In my case, I already had the GitHub connected to this project. Then you can either create a new repository or you can choose an existing one. So I'll choose an existing one, and you can even search over here. So I'll choose home page project. Then it will ask whether you want to create a new branch or an existing branch. Creating a new branch has its own benefits in the sense that if you create a new branch and if I select main, Now just for this demo, I'll just call new. Okay. Now if I go this over here, you can even create a pull request, and you can even handle the conflicts in GitHub later on. But in our case, I'll just to push to existing branch, and I'll choose main. Now I'll unselect all, and let me select content and font. Now, another interesting thing you might have noticed over here is that while I'm selecting content, for example, it automatically selects the tag as well. So Locofi is smart enough to recognize the dependencies and automatically generates the it automatically picks up the dependencies and adds them to the list. Now over here we had some conflicts, but you saw Locofi is not asking us to do the conflict resolution over here because it is a pretty cool hack of Locofi. So basically, if the last push to your GitHub repository was made by Locofi, and the next push, the current push that you are going is also done with Locofi, then Locofi actually uses a smart algorithm on the background to automatically merge those conflicts for you. Awesome. Now, if I go over here and I refresh this, you should see it changed now. And if I click over here, if I go to my components, you can see that we have a content section, a card, as well as a form section. Now on my project side, I can first copy it and then I can simply run git pull. But before running git pull, I'll just show you that we just have these components over here. Now after I ran git pull, you can see we have content section and card as well. Now I can go back over here, and on the design file, I could see that the content section was added after the feature section. So I can add this over here, and the form section was added over here as a form. Awesome. Now I can save this. Now I can just run the project again. Now you can go back, and once you run the project again, you will see that we have the form section, the content section and the form section, and they are quite responsive as well. So if I go back, you can see very responsive. So as you can see, this is how you can bring uh, Locofi gradually into your workflow instead of adopting it in a single one. Now, if you remember, before starting this entire process, I mentioned that there are two ways of doing it. Now, there's also this cool way of doing it, where if you have these components, right, I can simply move them. Oops, sorry, I can simply move them outside. Yep. And now with Locofi, what I can do is that, let me just make this screen. Yep. So now with what you can do with Locofi is that not too long ago, we released handy new features for our users. So if you have been playing around with Locofi in the recent times, you might have already seen this. Basically, now you can select this and you can click on Sync to Builder. So I selected both the frames. And as you can see, now Locofi is automatically detecting that, hey, this is a single component and not a screen or a page. So now if I click on Start Sync, right, it does not go ahead and sync everything. It only syncs those individual components. And now if I go back to the builder, you can see that earlier we did not. So I have this open over here as well. And it updates it in real time. But if you remember, we did not have this two tabs over here that we have now. So let me just close the earlier one. So now you can see it is automatically recognizing that uh, this is a separate component. Okay. So now what I can do is that I can select this, and I can just make this into a component, for example. Yep. And I can go to sync components now. And over here, I can just select the form that I just created over here. this form component that we have. And then you can repeat the standard process that I just showed you a few minutes ago. Now, before I conclude this chapter of adding props, I'll just quickly go back and show you the code output for this. Sorry, let me go back. Yep. If I do this over here, you can see that we have the props as well. So we saw the props in the Locofi Builder, and now we are seeing it inside our VS Code as well. That using these props, you can now quickly go ahead and extend the code. So you can write a use effect over here, for example, and you can go ahead and just uh, fetch your APIs, make calls to your backend, and basically customize these cards. Another thing you will notice over here is that because we are using TypeScript, Locofi is generating the types for us as well. I mean, it is catching the relevant types, and this is very vanilla React. Like if I hand this over to a developer, uh, they won't know that this was generated by Locofi, and this is a very developer-friendly code that we have over here. So with this, we actually concluded both the adding props and integrating them into your existing code base. I see that some users have raised their hands. So I'll attend to the questions at the end of this webinar, which is just a few minutes away. So over here, just before closing, I'll just say this that um, with Locofi, you can easily adopt it into your existing workflow. And while even if a company or even if your organization is not using GitHub, you can explore the other options that we have. For example, you can click on export form and it will just export this single component for you. As you can see, one component, 87 lines of code. So this is how you can play around with the product. You can adopt it incrementally, and you can just test out the code quality before locofying an entire screen and then realizing that Locofi might not be right. So that's why you can start with smaller components first.